Hello and welcome everyone. In this video tutorial, we will discuss about DDL operations and we will understand how we can implement these operations in our database using Python. So the main key DDL operations that we are going to cover in this video tutorial are create operation, alter operation, truncate operation. Then we will discuss about the rename operation, and in the last we will discuss how we can implement the drop operation. So without any further delay, let's start with the topic. Now before we jump to the topic and understand how we can implement the create operation, we should must aware what are these DDL operations. So DDL basically stands for data definition language, and these operations include operations of creating and modifying database and its objects. For describing the data, DDL commands have specific syntax. Now this data definition language commands address the structure of the data that should be stored in the database. The main key DDL operations are here that we are going to cover. So very first is the create operation, then there is alter operation, after that there is a truncate operation, then in the last we have rename and drop operation. So let's understand how we can implement the create operation, and we will discuss this whole concept with the help of an example. So here you can see one example. Now for create operation, we use the create command in our SQL, and to implement all this step in the Python, what we will do, we will use the SQLite 3 module, which will be used to operate the SQLite 3 database. So first we will make a connection to our database. So in this case, in this example, we are using Python guides database. Then we created a cursor and we define a create query here. So we use the create table statement to define a table with name profile. Now this profile table consists of 3 columns: user ID, first name and age. Then we use the execute function to execute our SQL query, and then we use the commit method to commit the changes in our database. So once we implement this operation, this success message will be printed, that is table created successfully. And here if you look into the code closely, you can see that we have used the try except block to handle exceptions, and we also use the finally block to close the connection and also close the cursor. So let me execute this code block, and once I execute this code block, here you can see first we successfully made a connection and we created a cursor, then our table was created successfully, and then the last we close the cursor and connection. Now let us check whether our table has been created or not. So for this I will use DB browser, and here I will open my Python guides database. So I will click on file, then I will click on open database, and then I have to select the database file. Now if I open this database file, here you can see my profile table is also created. Now if I browse this table, currently we haven't inserted any data in our table, that's why it is showing the table structure as empty. But with this we have successfully created our profile table. Now let's move forward and let's discuss about the alter operation. Now the role of this alter operation is to use the alter table command, and the main role of this alter table command is to modify the table structure or modify any database object which is there in our database. So what we have done in this example, first we made our connection with our Python guides database, then we use the alter table statement. Now we are altering the profile table and we are adding another column with name last underscore name to our table. So once this statement has been executed, it will return a success message. Let me execute this code block, and here you can see connection and cursor created successfully, then table altered successfully, and in the last connection and cursor got closed. Now I will come back to my DB browser, then I will click on this open database. Again I will open the Python guides database. Now here I will again open this profile table, and this time you can see this last underscore name column has been added to this profile table. So with this I hope you all understand the alter operation. Let's move forward and let's discuss about the truncate operation. Now this truncate statement, or we can say the truncate operation, removes all the table records by deleting them. Additionally, the space designated for storing the table records is deleted by this instruction. So as discussed, the role of truncate statement is to remove all the data. However, till now in our example we haven't inserted any data in our profile table. So before implementing the truncate statement, we first need to insert some data in it. So I will move back to the example, and here I have written a code where what I am doing, I am using the insert into statement and inserting 3 records in my profile table. So I execute this. So once I execute this, here you can see this statement table data inserted successfully. Then after this I have written another code where I am using the select statement to fetch all the data that is there in the table, and with the help of for loop I am basically fetching and iterating over each tuple which is there in my table. So if I execute this code block, here you can see I have 3 records in my profile table. Now let's come back to the main topic, that is about truncating the table. Now one thing we need to understand here is the truncate statement is available for almost all the relational databases, but for case of SQLite it is not there, which means we cannot directly use the truncate statement in our SQLite 3 database. However, we can use that statement, we can use the truncate statement for many common relational databases. For example, MariaDB, MySQL, SQL Server, PostgreSQL, and there are many more which support truncate statement, but in case of SQLite, the truncate statement is not supported. So what we can do in the case of SQLite database, we will use the delete statement without any where clause. So here you can see the SQL statement. What I have done, I have written this delete from profile. I have not used any where clause. So what will happen? I haven't specified any condition here. So it will delete all the records from my profile table. So let me execute this code block. Now here you can see we got this message, table truncated successfully, which means all the data that is there in my table is deleted. Now I will come back to my code where I was using the select statement to fetch all the data. So if I use that, now in that case here you can see I haven't got any tuple here, which means my table is empty now. So with this, I hope you all understand how to use the truncate operation and the truncate statement using Python. Now let's move forward and let's discuss about the rename operation. Now what is the role of this rename operation? See, as the name specifies, the SQL operation includes the activity of renaming a database object, either it is a table, view, function, or any other database object. And for this implementation in SQL, we use the alter table statement with the rename option. So if I show you one example, so here you can see the example related to rename operation. So here I have written this statement, SQL statement, alter table profile, and I have used the rename option. Then I use the to keyword, and this is the new name which I want for my profile table, that is user underscore profile. And once I execute this code block, it will return this thing, table name modified. So here you can see the result of the code. First we made the connection, then we created the cursor, and then table name modified, and we close the connection and cursor. If I move back to my DB browser and then I show the database structure, and then let me quickly open the database file. And now here in the tables you can see profile table is not visible, and we got this table that is user underscore profile. If I click on this browse table option, you can see same column names are there. So with this we have successfully renamed our profile table to user underscore profile. Now let's move forward and let's discuss about the last operation, that is the drop operation. The drop operation in SQL is utilized to delete the entire database object with its structure. For example, if we perform the drop operation on a table from our database, it would completely remove the entire table from the specified database. And for this we use the simple SQL statement, that is drop table, and then we need to specify the name of the table. So here in this example, we are dropping the user underscore profile table, and once we execute the code successfully, it will return this success message, that is table name, table removed successfully. Let me execute this code, and here you can see we got the success message, that is table removed successfully. It means my SQL statement has been executed. Now let me come back to the DB browser. Again, I will open my database, and here now in the tables you can see user underscore profile table is not listed. It means it has been deleted successfully. So with this, I hope you all understand about the DDL operations, and with this also we have come to the end of this video tutorial. Thank you so much for watching this video. We will see you in the next one.